What would be most useful for you in this conversation today?
To really just kind of like go through my addendum and like make sure it doesn't sound like pity or like I don't exactly know what they're looking for either. So I was kind of like doing a guess / going off Google, and I don't really know how it turned out, but
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's walk through it together. So it looks like you've got two parts here. You have one part discussing your GPA, then one part discussing multiple LSAT takes.
yes.
So to me, those are two separate addenda because they're two different
Okay.
topics.
Yeah.
Now, so for the GPA, could you just summarize in your own words your explanation for GPA that was lower than otherwise?
So my first semester of college, I ended up having really bad depression, and I ruptured all my ligaments and tendons playing tennis. So I was missing a lot of classes, which caused me to have to drop because once you miss so many classes, it was an automatic fail. So I had to drop some classes, and I just got only a 2.8 my first semester. And then afterwards, I had 3.8s and 4.0s.
Nice, incredible. So you can show that was for a defined limited period where you had the relatively lower GPA and you have reasons explaining that.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I think that's a perfectly fine reason. It's also a good reason to write an addendum.
Okay.
I would just look to keep it as absolutely concise as possible.
Okay. So it's pretty much just short and to the point.
Yes, short and to the point, explaining, not making excuses. I don't think that you're running into the risk of having a pity party on this. I think it's very matter of fact here.
Okay.
I would be cautious talking about depression though, because they might be concerned, what if it happens again?
Yeah. Yeah. See, okay. So that's another one of my things too, is I also have like 2 different learning disabilities or whatever. So I get extra time on the LSAT, but I don't ever know to like bring those up because like some people see it as like, oh, whoa, that I can't do my work or like I'm not gonna be able to handle the stress of law school because of it. So like, do I mention those or no?
I probably wouldn't, because in fact, it was only the result of a lawsuit that led LSAC to no longer note on your score report that you got extra time on the LSAT.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have extra time, that's a great benefit because obviously it can make a difference. Now, it's obviously intended to simply put you on a level playing field. In some cases, might it do more than that? Maybe. And law schools, I mean, they're going to ask, well, are you going to want extra time on everything in law school too?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
So you don't need to include that. I wouldn't mention the depression. I wouldn't mention the extra time. For the GPA, I would talk about the injury and limit it to that. Obviously, a very clear, defined period with an end point. You said 8 months of physical therapy and reconstruction surgery. That's a big process. Obviously, that could take a lot of time. Obviously, that could knock you out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to think that anything like that would happen again.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the addendum, for the GPA addendum, that's where I would focus. For the LSAT addendum, I would not mention extra time.
Okay.
I also wouldn't necessarily write it simply on the fact that you had 3 takes. I mean, you had 3 takes, you went up each time. To me, that doesn't really seem to warrant an addendum on its own.
Okay. So maybe not even write an addendum for my LSAT then?
If you were to write one on your LSAT, what I might focus on instead is, let's say you mentioned your ACT was a struggle and it was low, it was lower, you scored lower on the ACT than your GPA potential would reflect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that suggests that for you, standardized tests are not the best predictor of future academic performance.
Okay.
So if you could say, I don't know the ACT scores, but let's say your ACT was below the median or the 60th percentile, but your GPA is not 85th percentile, let's say, or 90th percentile.
Okay.
Those are not equivalent. They don't correlate well. And so if you can attach your ACT score or at least mention it and say, my ACT did not reflect my ability.
The actual score, because I made like 26 on my ACT. So should I mention like that score specifically?
So 26, it's out of what, like 42, something like that?
36, I think.
36, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then that would suggest that you scored above average, but still not as good as your GPA would reflect, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact ACT percentiles. I might look into that a little bit, but if it's enough of a difference, that might warrant an addendum. But what was your LSAT in the end?
My past LSATs have been a 147, 149, and then a 151, but I didn't have my extra time, and I have it now, and I scored like 159, 160 on all my practice tests. So the extra time has helped a lot.
Are you planning to retake the LSAT?
Yes, I take it this Monday.
Okay, so if you retake the LSAT and your LSAT retake ends up being 160 or so, then that's great. And I don't think any addendum is necessary.
Okay. Yeah, there's going to be a really big jump, but okay.
Yeah, so I didn't know that you were still planning to retake. That says to me that you're taking it overall 4 times in the end, right? But as for the reasons for the lower score, it's basically just that you didn't have the extra time previously. There's not really any other major factor.
Yeah, no, not really.
Then
it was pretty much, I took it the first time because a teacher told me to take it to get like the stress and like jiggles out. And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, so I took it kind of like blindsided. And then I rushed to take the June one because I didn't want to do digital. And then July, they offered the free, like pretty much look at your score and you can cancel it. So that's kind of the reasons why I took them where they were, but they weren't, I wasn't ready for them when I took them.
Right. Understood. Well, they're all different reasons though. And I don't think any of those is significant enough to warrant an explanation of sorts. I mean, especially with July, so many people took July because it.
Yeah. Of course you would. I'd pay $200 every time if I could see my score and cancel it.
Yeah. Yeah. So in this case, based on what you've said, I would focus just on the GPA addendum.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And that one to pretty much kind of like take out the depression and all of that in there and just really specify on the injury.
Yeah, exactly. And just limit it to a couple hundred words at most.
Okay.
Ideally, just if you could keep it to 1 paragraph or 3 to 4 sentences, that would be ideal.
Okay. Yeah. So mine was definitely like a page and a half.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, obviously it takes a lot of work to chop it down bit by bit, but give your full explanation on your initial draft and then just chop out every unnecessary word and every unnecessary detail till you're down to the core.
Okay. Sweet. Thank you so much for talking with me and going through my thing. I'm applying early admissions to UGA and the applications due on the 1st. So I was like, So I'm kind of like a late bloomer to all this stuff right now.
Well, I'm really glad we were able to connect on this before that. Please keep in touch and let me know if there's anything at all I can do for you to support you as you move forward with this or with the LSAT too.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.